Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without.
What is up, everybody? So it is Tuesday night, guys, election night. All right, here we are, guys, already. We got people in the house. What is up, Daniel? What is up, KDJ? Mr. Nick Lozano, guys. You need to check out his show, guys. He's pretty awesome. I was on there with him. But, of course, what we're talking about tonight, and you know what, of course, is the big elephant in the room, guys, is the fact that, yes, if you're looking at it, it is right there in front of you. You guys see it with your own eyes. Yes, I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles symbol on my head. I have an echo. Okay. Let's see if I can cut the echo out. Let's see what's going on here. Let me check the audio, guys. Echo canceling. Okay. Hello. Microphone check. Let's get this thing going. What the heck is going on here? Okay. We still have an echo. We have an echo, folks. Oh, we have an echo. Here we go. So, anyway, we'll see if that'll work through it. Changed it up a little bit. Maybe it'll see. Share up a little bit, guys. So what I'm actually doing is I'm paying off a bet. Yes, I thank you, Daniel, guys. So let me know if you still hear the echo. That would be nice to know. But anyway, this evening is going to be a little bit different. Yes, we're going to be talking about topics. We're going to be talking about other things. But of course, yes, the elephant in the room, like I said, is I am paying off a bet. So my former podcast co-host and I made a bet a while back. No echo. What did it say? Mic is quite quiet, though. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, volume's turned all the way up. LinkedIn issue. Some there on the other issue. Okay. Vote for Pedro. Well, Adam, that was in the cards, but then I had to do this. Thank you, Jason. So what it was is the fact that I lost the bet. Of course, my team is the Dallas Cowboys, and on Sunday, they played the Philadelphia Eagles, and the bet was if my team won, she would have to go live wearing cowboy gear, right? Well, the whole deal was if I lost, though, I would have to wear a hat because I wear hats all the time, and I would have to wear a hat live on the air. So if you're seeing this, guys, this is just as painful as it is for me, for you guys to watch, as it is for me to be wearing right now. So yes, thank you, Adam. What is up from Twitch, guys, on the Twitch stream? So you can check us out, guys, at www.twitch.tv/MFSB Live if you want to watch on Twitch. Appreciate you so much, Mr. Nick Lozano. But again, I was so just biting my nails on Sunday because I did not want to do this, right? And yeah, I'm very hurt. I have to do this. I have to pay off the bet. hold up on my end. What is up, Mr. Russ Johns in the house? Russ, appreciate you so much. Watched your show today with Jake L. Jordan. I like both you guys, so I watch both your guys' shows pretty religiously. Adam Sinkus, what is up, my friend? But again, this evening, though, is about a lot of things. So, of course, one of the things that we're going to be talking about, guys, and you know it and I know it, and that is, of course, the election, right? So, CNN, of course, is, and what it is, and I'll be pulling up my feed a little bit so you guys can kind of see it here. Just wait a second while I pull it up. Hello. Pedro rocks. Yes, he does. Hello, Senor Pasayala Heyoka. What is up, my friend? So, KDJ's in the house. That's right. So, who do you support? Ooh, mystery question that somebody's asking. Who do you support? I'll let you know here in a little bit. Right now, though, the main idea that we're going to talk about here, of course, is what is going on tonight. What have been some of the things that have been going on as far as like seeing polls and seeing all these other news stories about places being prepared, boarding up, riots. I mean, so I don't know what they're expecting tonight, but I don't think. I'm sorry, guys. It's funny to see the comments that roll in. So, Adam is, I vote for Jack Daniels. I think a lot of people would vote for Jack Daniels if he was actually on the ticket, right? That would be an interesting haul. So here we go. Let's just see again. And that was one of the things that I kind of noticed a little bit whenever I was watching a lot of the news stories today, of course, because of course it was huge, right? To think about, it's the biggest thing that's been going on all day long. It's just people have been talking and preparing for, of course, this evening's elections. So you couldn't ignore it, and this is one of the things that I have knew that this was going to be a little bit different than just about everything else. So I actually got the opportunity to go vote today. Didn't have the best time because my car broke down today. That kind of sucked as well. But again, this is not what we're going to concentrate on. We're going to concentrate on the race to 270 or so they say. So let me pull it up full screen for you guys. And then we're going to pull in the election results, as some of them are second in motion. There you go. I really like the lower thirds, but yeah, very nice work, and I'm glad. Thank you so much, Mr. Russ Johns. And Russ, that's one of the things. How's winning so far, my friend? Yes, PD, what is up? Because well, yeah, I know. You got to get prepared for it because you don't know what's going to happen. But again, it just sucks to think about. That's what we have to prepare for in just about anything. So here we go. We'll pull this up. And no, don't want to do that just yet, because whenever you do, let me stop share screen, because again, you've got to remember. Oh no, sorry to hear about you. No, Russ, it'll be okay. That's life. Thank you, Mary Ellen Shea. Yes, we're gonna have a conversation here soon. No. What's with the Eagles cap? So recap, if you missed it, Howard, I lost a bet, and I have to pay up for losing the bet. And yes, it sucks. It sucks pretty badly. But again, guys, if anybody is wanting to come on here this evening, because this is going to be a little bit longer than usual broadcast, since we're going to be broadcasting for a little while longer than usual, because we're going to follow the election and just kind of see where everything goes. But again, there's a link. Okay, hopefully that's better. So let's go ahead and, like I said, there's a link. Let me share the link. Copy to the clipboard. Here we go. We're going to put this down in the comments. Lost audio. I know my connection was loose. I just saw that. So, is the audio back? Can you hear me now, guys? I know it lost audio. I plugged it back in, and hopefully the mic is back on. So let me know. Quiet again. Gosh darn it. Turning it up. There it goes. Better. It's low, huh? Well, these are the struggles. Struggle. So if it stays low, I will get my other headphones. So it's got, it's supposed to be able to do, let me try this. Audio, press quality, camera, audio, here we go. Okay. Better. Can you hear me? Here we go. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Gotta have good audio, guys. Messing around. It's because I have the connection right here that I have is sort of loose, so I had to change positions on it. So, all right, we are again live and going. Like I said, if you guys didn't see, there is, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a YouTube link. Right, you can watch it, the StreamYard link if you're watching on Facebook, on my Facebook page. If you're watching on Twitter, you can connect there, and of course it's on LinkedIn as well. I dropped it down in the, actually I dropped it on the post on LinkedIn before we came live. So since we are live, I am going to drop it again in the live here and see if we can put it in there. And there we go. There it goes. So it's in the StreamYard link. There we go. So there's a stream, and there it is on LinkedIn, guys. You want to click to come on the show?
Dad, they want you.
Okay, hold on. All right, had to mute myself for a second there. I may hop on. Okay, you hop on. There's the link. It's live, guys. Active. You click it. It's there. So now we are actually going to go to live coverage that we're going to be watching on. Wow, my dog. So if you guys know, here we go. We're going to go live here.
Texas A&M Corpus Christi is a destination like no other. As an island,
We're going to mute that though. I don't want to see that. If you guys can hear, I will turn the volume up on in just a second. Hush, please, sir. Thank you. We're trying to do a live show here. I got to work it out with my co-host there. So here we go. We are back in live stream.
They got 306 electoral votes. 4 years ago, you take away Ohio, you take away North Carolina,
Joe Biden holds the Clinton states. He's the next president of the United States without even taking back all the blue wall. So let's focus on them. Ohio, let's just focus on this just for a second and look at this right now. Ohio is blue, right? That's a big deal. North Carolina is blue. There are some other anomalies on the math. And again, I know I'm a...
Wow. Sup, everyone. So that's cool. So you can actually, I can hear that. There you go. Well, if any of you guys want to come on, so if any of you guys want to hop in here and hey, join the conversation. So as you can see, we actually have the CNN coverage live right now. I have the volume muted just a little bit, but we'll pull it up. He's kind of just walking through Ohio, of course. And again, it is very early in the process. So it is at 42-30, but again, there's a lot of huge electoral votes that aren't in just yet. So let's see. So there is tons of channels actually that are streaming this, and whoa! So we have our first guest of the evening, guys. He is the creator of the Pirate Broadcast and the Pirate Syndicate. He is also a regular guest on the show. He's been here a few times. Please help me welcome this evening, Russ John. So let me pull you up in here. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, doing well, Gabe. Glad to catch up. I see you all the time. I see you everywhere. I see you producing great stuff all the time. And so I saw you pop in, and I thought I'm going to jump on Gabe's live stream and catch up. So
exactly right. And then check this out, Russ. Let me move this way. Oh, you can kind of see my face next to Joe Biden's here. Howard's actually saying, amazing. No delay lag on the CNN feed compared to my TV.
I just had to turn that tab off.
Right. Well, like I have the tab on, but I've got it muted now on the feed, on the audio that's coming in from the share screen, of course. And yes, Adam, that is Russ Johns that you see on your screen.
What's Adam? What's up?
But again,
Howard's in the house.
Yes, he is. So, one of the things that we're looking at here is either there's going to be a just continuation of what's the normal, or we're going to have some kind of change tonight, some history, who knows? I mean, it's all up in the air. But again, this is something that we always look at every 4 years with a lot of anticipation to figure out what's going to happen for the next 4 years. And it's been this whole year, this whole COVID time has been like one of the craziest things so far. So this election has been nothing different. It's been par for the course for what has been going on this year. And
it's insanity.
It is. And again, I think everybody could actually take a page out of the book from Arizona, just like Arizona does with time. Like we shift times, and I had a lot of conversations with a lot of folks who said that 1 hour really like throws their synchronicity off with their routine or whatever it is. And it just, with Arizona, it's, hey, we just here, right?
We don't automatic. Just like, I don't have to worry about it.
The only thing that, like I said, that just happened for you this week, right, was the fact that you now switch back to, because the rest of the world or the rest of this country switches times, is that you had to switch times that you broadcast, right? So it's usually,
right.
I mean, for you, it's just it's just normal. I get up and it's the same time. It's the guests around you that have to go, well,
I feel bad for anybody that has booked in November from California. because I had a guest on, I guess, on Monday, and I was kind of curious. Because of the time change, some people forget and they don't realize that Arizona isn't, in that same time zone any longer, and so you have to not worry, but it's just you have to be aware of it.
Yeah,
Send
so
out a few more notifications, things like that.
of course, and that's one of the things that um, again, that I think that it's just madness that we do this every twice a year. As a matter of fact, it's just it it doesn't it never like really made sense to me even as a kid.
Yeah,
Um, to go, why do we have to adjust? I thought time was time, not
yeah,
you know time is infinite. It just goes. And I guess that's just the craziness of how they figure it out. Because again, I mean, the Mayans figured out time a long time ago, and they never had to deal with daylight
yeah. They had it all figured out.
with daylight savings times and spring forward, fall back. The whole it's crazy. But
Yeah,
again, this is what we deal with on a regular basis twice a year. And of course, like I said, you have to deal with it when you come to dealing with like your show and having guests on. So, and of course, it's been what, a year you've done it now, streaming,
yeah.
a little
I
over a
got
year.
over 280 episodes. So
208. I'm only 120 behind you, so all right, 115, I think. 115, I think, somewhere around there. Impressive though. That's great. I mean, it really takes a lot out of to really do that. And we got a projection. So we're saying we got a projected winner. I guess I don't know where,
I don't know.
but that's one of the things that's been kind of a little bit um, insane is that the way that we've had to look at election results, and because there was so much turnout early on because of COVID-19, right? I mean, we had record
Right.
numbers. We had record numbers here in the state of Texas. I mean, early voting surpassed poll voting for the 2016 election.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
been insane as far as record numbers.
That's why I think it's so interesting, because I think there are going to be so many areas that last minute voting is going to make a huge difference.
And
You
again,
know, because the projections on the voting early are not necessarily the end results. I mean, they're projections, right? They're going to be
yes,
a projection. And my concern, Gabriel, is that I'm a little nervous about the idea that this is going to go on like we have seen in years past, where it's going to be so close that they're going to have to count each ballot, and then
oh,
it's going to take weeks and carry on, and it's just, I mean, everybody's so polarized already that it's kind of
yes,
it
right.
makes me nervous.
That would just be par for the course again for 2020. Just another hanging Chad year like back in 2000. That
Yeah,
was um, insane to think about, because I was hoping that if either way, I was just hoping that there was either a landslide so we wouldn't have to deal with this. Like, right, I've been telling people, so imagine. I would tell people, look at like what the Super Bowl used to be. There used to be blowouts, right? You would be like, okay, I'm just watching it to watch it now because I know who's going to win.
yeah.
Where now
It's not a mystery.
it's not a mystery, exactly, right? And this is one of those things. Oh, Verl's very Trump heavy. Well, of course, I think a
Yeah,
lot is done in early vote. Wow,
68%. Adam
since
says 68% of voting in Florida was done early
early.
through.
Wow,
That's a high percentage, Adam. I mean,
that
holy cow.
well, that's another thing. Like, even if so, that's another tight race. See how you have Texas, right? Those are usually the bigger states that carry a lot of electoral votes. So, New York,
Um,
Florida, Texas, and California. Texas has 30. I think California has like 55, something like that. So I
It's
mean, literally,
insane.
I mean, if you literally take those four states, you're you're halfway to the point of winning the election, and that's only 4 states. I mean, so as you can, yes, Florida has 29, 16. So yeah, it's going to be it looks like it's going to be a crazy night. It's already shaping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it'll be we're going to have another 2000 election. Gosh. And that's going to be insanity because, again, like you said, Russ, it's like when you imagine like when you have a Band-Aid on, right, and you want to take it off, right, and it's been on. It's just easier to rip the thing off and get it over with. But there's some that love to just tear it slowly and, I don't know, enjoy the pain, I guess. I don't know. It's been crazy, but again,
It has been crazy.
It's just nothing new for what we've had to deal with. And again, I mean, even like we're talking about in a COVID year, so like even Adam was saying old people were trying to stay home. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Numbers are back on the rise. In countries like in Europe and in Italy, they're going back to shutdown mode.
I don't know. I don't know about you. However, I mean, the COVID epidemic and pandemic and everything around it just added a lot of distraction on the election this year, and it's just, I mean, a lot of people are challenged by it. I've talked to a lot of people that have lost their work, and lost income, and are challenged by it, and it's like it's global. It's not just local, and I just find it interesting how it's impacting the election, and it'll be interesting to see how the next 18 months rolls out with COVID.
Exactly right. For a while there, they were very hopeful of, talking about having a vaccination at some point, right? Because they fast tracked it. And I mean, here we are still. It's vaccination. I think even if they wanted to push it that fast, it's not going to be able to stop the speed the way it's spreading. So, I mean, quickly. So, I mean, to me, that's why New Jersey. Okay, well, we got to know. But, for me, the big thing that I've been worried about is the fact that people are getting COVID hangover, right? They are getting the fact where, like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So much so that I've seen people go out to stores without masks. I've seen people in huge crowds not even worrying about any sort of precaution to protect themselves or everybody else. So, I mean,
right.
I get it. It's been a tough year, and ask people to try to do what we've been doing since March. I mean, it's been tough. I fully understand the burnout, but again, we're just going to go back into this vicious cycle. I mean, we're headed back there now, where numbers are starting to spike. Here in Texas, in El Paso, they actually were going back to looking at shutdown mode because hospitals were at 100% capacity there. So, I mean, it's still a little crazy, but I think that hopefully, whatever the outcome is here this evening, if there's an outcome that comes out in favor of change, I'm not going to say just outright whatever, but that maybe we look at they look at the way that we approach COVID-19 going into the new year, because it's gonna be here. I mean, we're already in November. It's gonna be here in December. The new president will come in, or if the same president comes in, if there's a new president that comes in, he's gonna have to deal.
Regardless of who's elected, it's not going to change the outcome of COVID.
Yes, and again, it's not gonna. You're still looking at it where it's still the elephant in the room, and you're still going to have to address it. So hopefully we'll just
it's like, have you seen anybody around the world change the outcome of the spread of COVID? I mean, are there any countries saying that they're winning the race against COVID?
No,
It's like
no.
it's like it's like it's not a political point; it's a medical point, and it's like obviously, okay, somebody can make a decision and be judged by that decision to either do one thing or another for or against, or lockdowns, or you know precautions, or doing radical changes in their you know environments. However, ultimately, it's not a political virus. It's a medical virus. So it's
Exactly right. I mean, it is. Regardless, it's here. We're going to have to still deal with it, and um, it's still looking like to this point where we haven't made any headway. I mean, it it was like this in March.
Mhm.
The only thing that's changed is people have stopped caring as much. I mean, if that's the one thing that's changed, is the fact that there's some people who have just said, you know what, I'm not. I don't. It's either a farce to them, or it's something that says, you know what, I'll deal with it if I get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm here. My mom's 84. We're caring for her. She has COPD. So, I mean, it's, it's pretty drastic to, get her exposed or potentially get her infected, and I don't want to be the one that has taken action that allows that to take place. And so, my caution is to protect the people around me. And a lot of people that may not necessarily have that same circumstance may not, they may say, hey, I've talked to a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people get sick and nothing's happened. And then, they have other people in their life that assumingly healthy individual, and then they get sick and they're in the hospital. So it doesn't seem to be able to, I mean, I haven't seen or heard any statistically medically backed evidence that it has a certain demographic that it impacts more. I mean, obviously, if you're already sick and you're already at risk, that's going to increase the likelihood that it could be fatal. However, imagine this. What's it going to be like if this is going to go on for another 5 years?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I think that's where we kind of get short-sighted, where we don't think about it. And look who's here in the house, Mr. Adam Sinkus.
what's going on, Adam?
What's going on, guys? I was trying to stay out of this and get my work done, and yeah, that didn't happen. So,
but again, it's an interesting question that you pose, Russ. I mean, we're sitting here thinking to ourselves, oh yeah, a year, 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, what if this is the thing that goes on for 5 years? I mean, it is something that we're going to steadily have to adjust to for those next. I mean, if this next president has to deal with it for the next 4 years, that's what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's yes, it's crazy a notion to put out there, but you got to remember that no matter what, until they have steadily secured a vaccination for this thing, everybody here, no matter what part of the country you're in, no matter what part of the world, and you're stuck with this.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's like they say, common cold. I could go to the doctor and wait 7 days, or I can stay at home and wait a week and get over it. So is the vaccination the answer? Is that enough to make a difference? Is it going to be that there's going to be, like you're saying, the people are already getting, tired of the precautions and the necessary steps to, stay out of the way of getting sick. and I think it's done a big push for reducing the death rate. However, we're still going to have fatalities, and we're still going to have challenges with hospitals filling up at different times at different locations. And if this is, I think, and I don't know what to believe, because I don't know really what news to really adhere to or really listen to or pay attention to. And I hear so many differing stories and different analogies and different outcomes, and depending on what side of the fence you're standing on a particular day, could change the landscape of what your outcome or your thought process could be. So it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I love Travis. Oh my gosh. So far, the comment of the. Well,
So I always thought that I always think the COVID conversation is really interesting, because the reality is we have been, I think, as a society, so judgmental on the people that are making the decisions about what's right, wrong, or indifferent about this. But at the end of the day, we have a bunch of relatively informed people looking at all the data and facts and trying to make the best decision for the world, one of the world's largest populations of people, and going, still, even at the best bet, it's a guess that we're doing something right. And so, that's always been my take on it, is like, let's step back and realize that we're still like guessing what is actually the right course of action. And based on the fact that numbers are starting to spike again, we haven't got there. So we're kind of back to the drawing board yet again for probably the third or fourth time in this.
And that was my point, Adam, is like, this is not a U.S. focused problem. I mean, this is not a political agenda.
Yeah.
COVID doesn't really care if you're red or blue or black or white. It doesn't really matter. It's the fact that this is an international problem. And the biggest challenge and the biggest thing I scratch my head over is like, this should be bringing us together as a country. This should be, bringing some harmony into the fact that, hey, we're all subject to loss. We're all subject to this emotional attachment to our loved ones and the people we care about, and people that are suffering. And it's like, it's not a political issue. And I keep scratching my head. Well, I don't have much to scratch, but I really have to believe that there's some hidden agenda behind, everything else. And it's like, why can't we just come together and focus on working to minimize the impact of our economy, our population, and the people we care about? So.
Yeah, I mean, really, like the mask conversation, right? That's, they've proven scientifically time and time again that it's as simple as, it's not really about you. It's about protecting everybody else around you, whether you're a carrier or not. To me, it's stop being selfish and just let's just look at what's out there for the greater good for people.
Yeah.
What's
the verdict?
So right now,
What's the verdict, Gabriel?
Right now, they're saying so far that a lot of the smaller states have kind of been projected as winners, because again, a lot of those states had record early turnout voting, right? So they're able to do. One of the things he was saying is they're able to do better projections on some of those votings, because again, they've had early voting, so they have, some counties, larger counties, where they're having to wait on it, but they're able to kind of project and see that they're getting better results. So, and again, like he's saying, they're doing, of course, the comparative from 2016 to 2020. So, one of the things though that I like that both of you were both saying is the fact that, we're talking about this issue, and yes, it is going to be a small political issue once whether the incumbent or the new president comes in is going to have to deal with it. But like you said, it doesn't make it doesn't give us a choice saying that, hey, this is COVID, I'm picking Biden or Trump. It is, I am COVID, I am killing people, right? It's literally, it's something that's so unilateral, and again, most of what we're talking about, though, is the fact that there's so many different countries, there's so many different leaders who are looking at the same problem, right?
Right.
And again, what does it tell you that none of them have it figured out yet? They go, this is how we're going to do it. I mean, literally, again, you got countries like Italy and England that are going back into shutdown mode. I mean,
Yep.
how?
Yeah, I was talking to one of my connections that's actually in the London area, and he was talking about, they're officially shutting everything down as of Thursday.
Yeah.
In London. So they're kind of back in the saddle of stuck at home pretty much indefinitely for at least the near term future again.
Well, let me pose this question to you guys. What if they do that here? Are you guys prepared to deal with that again?
I mean, I work out of the house already, so.
So do I. I've been a remote worker for 10 years, so.
Okay, how about anybody else that's watching this not at this point? Are you guys
send me my groceries, leave them on the porch. I'll come pick them up before the ice cream melts. It's like, okay.
But for some folks who are just getting back out, like, okay, let's just say the whole thing that was at the very beginning was bars, hair salons, churches, a lot of these, of course, a lot of these brick and mortar businesses who somehow or another made it through the first wave and had the opportunity to open. Are we prepared to deal with that again with some folks? I mean, the way that these waves have been going and spiking, and again, it doesn't seem like there has been a slowdown. And the only thing that really worked was when we did. Yeah, that's awesome. Right? It's just like to it. There's Travis. Stream here, guys. Yes, we're gonna leave. Okay, back at it. So Travis was saying, also team remote work over
Remote
here.
work over here.
Yeah, an introvert stream. Oh, that is true, Travis. Introvert
So true.
stream. I got a little bit different take because I'm one of those who has to actually. My job was at the very beginning of this thing considered essential. So I was still going out into the public. I have been since March, so except for 2 weeks when I was actually quarantined. I've been out.
I remember that.
Yeah, so, and this was at a time.
Did we lose him, Adam?
Yeah, I think we lost him. Well, he's figuring that out. Really, I think what's interesting about the remote work world, right, is communication has become so incredibly intentional.
Yeah.
Right. Every time you communicate with somebody, you're scheduling a Zoom call, you're putting it on a calendar. It's like this super purposeful action, and so for me, like that's in my opinion, the biggest, one of the biggest struggles here is we've lost the water cooler conversation, which.
Well, Howard Kaufman just jumped in and he said it's the social interaction, especially with kids, that it really is lacking in the social etiquette, that challenge of being, acceptable and being accepted and being recognized in some of the interactions that require, social interaction. So
Yeah.
miss the festival. Travis says, I miss the festival events and live music. Absolutely.
Absolutely, right?
I
Yep.
love just going into relaxing on a dinner and just, not having to worry about, everybody being nervous and uptight about not relaxing.
Well,
So,
I mean, let me ask you this, because you've been a musician. What if
Yeah.
this would have been happening right in the middle of your career when you were going out and gigging so much?
oh,
How much of an
Well-
impact would it have had on you?
it would have stopped it completely. It would have stopped it 100%. And not only that, it was pre-internet. So,
Oh,
it's like
okay. Yeah, you would.
there's no alternatives. There's no alternatives. So with that being said, a lot of options exist right now with live streaming. 5 years ago, this would be a completely different story. The Zoom sessions wouldn't be as available. Bandwidth wouldn't be able to be managed as well, and all of these things that are coming to fruition. And that's kind of feeds the conspiracy theorists. It's like, 5G and everything that's coming on, and the virus and everything else that's going along with it. It's like, realistically, let's just try to save ourselves as humanity. It's like,
Right? Like that's
it's like we got 330 million people, and we've got a selection process right now going on. It's pretty limited.
exactly right. So,
I say we bundle all those 5G conspiracy. 5G is causing all this, and send them all over to their corner of the flat Earth, and we just take care of it from there.
The dark side of the moon.
well, yeah. I mean, and when you think about it, here we are. We're at a pinnacle of where technology is like ever changing every single day. New things are happening, new things are coming along, and yet we still haven't figured out how to even operate, like you said, as a society, right? You figured even you've made these advances that we would have advanced with it as well. Like us as humans, as society would have said, you know what, we're elevating ourselves too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's been anything but.
It's warning labels. I blame warning labels. We put warning labels on everything, and natural selection just doesn't occur in the same way it should have.
Yeah. Darwin's not as active these days.
Well, even with all of this, right? We still, again, in the simplest form, have a way to maintain and control our own lives, right? I mean, we still have the ability to, even though we're living inside of COVID, we're operating within this election. We're operating with social distancing. We still have the ability to, no matter what, say, you know what, today's going to be a good day, or today we're going to just make the best of it. I mean, again, like I said, my car, it happens, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you're spot on, Gabriel, because we may not have control of what happens around us or to us. We have control over how we deal with it, though. And
Yeah.
just being responsibility, taking responsibility for our actions and making sure that we're being diligent about the safety of others around us and courteous and have a little empathy for those that are suffering through it. And, it's like I said, it's a pretty simple equation. Kindness is cool and smiles are free.
It is. And again, like we have access to so many cool things.
Yeah.
Like, let me just pull this up here. Like this
It's
is
accelerating too. It's
So-
accelerating.
I mean, you can see this is pretty cool. On the Fox website, you can actually go to election results. It can give you, as you can see, pulling up percentages. This is pretty cool. Pretty
Mhm.
interactive. And it kind of lays out the course, the Electoral College for you guys. So as you can see, again, California has 55. So, man, that's a big chunk. So again, between, I don't know, I don't have a calculator, but between, like I said, New York, Florida, Texas, and California, if you ever win those three states, I mean, let's see, 30, 60, ooh, my math is one. Why is my brain not working? I need a calculator. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But as you can see, those are the big winners on the board, and yet um, it always seems to me that most people, when I hear them talking about it, they always talk about the smaller states, right? What they call the battleground states, right? Because again, there's different ways to add it up to victory. But again, I'm one of those who I deal with it, but I don't like the Electoral College. It's like anything. I think there's things that are outdated.
Yeah.
We really need to look at
Like daylight savings.
You like daylight savings, another one like we talked about, right?
I read the other day something along the lines, and I don't remember the specific numbers, but like California is like one electoral vote to like 700 some odd thousand people, and then like Wyoming was one vote to like 300,000 people. But you know, the weight of the amount of votes per state says that the weight in California is going to stand a lot higher. You know, but it was just interesting to see that, you know, smaller state with each electoral college vote having a more dense population representation.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that because again, it's reflective in the difference between like the House and the Senate, right? So the Senate is set that every state, all 50 states, have 2 senators. I think that's pretty fair. I like that. So it doesn't matter if you have, 50 million people in your state, and it doesn't matter if you have 14. Your voice is still sort of the same, whereas in the House of Representatives, it's again based off population, and it's crazy to think about that. You know, this is something that we've put into place so long ago, and yet something that we still use and operate under. And I mean, I'm all about making changes to try to reflect of how we're growing as a society and how we're going to change. I mean, it's been the education system is one of them. I mean, here we are. We're if it wasn't for Zoom, I mean, if it wasn't for this pandemic, we would have never looked at the education system differently. It would have always been par for the course. We've always would have had to do the same sort of deals. We would have had to learn and operate the same way. Where now it is, we're having to change how we look at course curriculum because of virtual learning. We're seeing how important it is, the power of what we do here, live stream. I mean, I was becoming an advocate before COVID hit of saying that video was a great way to be an educational tool. I think it still carries a lot of. I mean, can you imagine a network where some of the best teachers in the world could teach to different children, and it wouldn't matter if they were in Texas or Oklahoma, if they were in.
I was going to say so like the homeschool systems have been doing this for probably about the last 4 or 5 years. Honestly, most of those homeschool programs, you sign up for like a general program in your area, and it's online based, and you have resources and things that are spread amongst like that. But the reality is that we've pushed the schools to make a decision on this, and my challenge right now is that we've pushed the schools to make a decision, but the decision in tools that they've chose to use probably are not the best for just the learning experience. Zoom is very limited from a perspective of it doesn't have whiteboard, it doesn't have really good breakout tools, it doesn't have facilitator tools. Where things like the Adobe platforms, GoToMeeting, and all these other platforms that are out there that are very comparable in cost have all these tools in place which can make the learning environment very interactive. Instead, we have kids sitting on Zoom for 20 minutes, half an hour of a class, and then doing self-work, and it's not the same dynamic as what they're used to in a classroom. And on all honesty, I think it's limiting in a way as well, because they don't get that same level of group interaction and group projects and things like that teachers normally incorporate within a normal curriculum.
Yeah, and again, it is that I think that's where maybe people who are really immersed in doing this sort of thing can maybe actually help develop that level of instruments to go give these teachers the tools to be able to be interactive with a classroom and keep kids engaged, because again, we're talking about kids, right? The attention span has to be, I mean, even as adults, our attention spans have literally changed as well because of how we've been marketed and trained through social media. I mean, sometimes, growing up, right, for us, it was different because can you imagine guys having to log on to the internet through a dial-up, right?
Mm-hmm.
How
I can imagine that.
how painful was it? Where now most of these kids are, if they see it buffering for 20 seconds, it's like, what is going on, right? Like,
Just
dude,
to know how you feel when you can't get a connection on your phone.
Imagine actually having to wait a whole 5 to 10 minutes for a song to download off of Napster.
there you go. There's another, right? A Napster throwback.
Yeah.
So Howard's just saying, from a business point of view, the pandemic has really threatened the university college business model.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Think of all of that real estate that is sitting vacant and how many people are now learning online and transferring that education and that experience into a virtual college, and I just think of all the investments that have gone into, building up the colleges and the campuses and the buildings and the teachers and the administration, and now it's all of a sudden it's shaking the whole system up in a completely different environment.
Well, I mean, I can see exactly where Howard's talking about, because there's some mediums that don't translate to the online sort of deal. So like the Berkeley School of College in Boston, right? That concentrates on musical, on learning certain skills that have to actually do with some. You're going to learn better by being in front of an instructor, learning how to play, learning how to figure out writing compositions, all of these things that you can't, that are going to be difficult to learn from afar, right?
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said about the idea of group learning and triggering ideas from conversation in a group setting and environment. There's, if you've ever, had a great, mastermind that you've been able to, kind of really get deep into and really break down problems and work to solve issues on a larger level. And it's really, like Howard's saying, the tenure system also may be threatened. It's kind of hard to have tenure if you don't have an institution. Yeah, it is. It's going to be a challenge for a lot of them. And that's the thing is, That's why I'm so surprised that one of the biggest and best political moves right now would be to bring the country together. It's like, why are we not why are we being so polarizing in our opportunities here? And I was I would really love to see leadership, move in a direction of community, empathy, compassion,
That would be that,
awareness.
that would be
You know,
nice. That would be nice. It's kind of like the ploys that they were doing right before the elections with talking about stimulus talk, right?
yeah,
I mean, here we are. They're saying one side saying, "Well, we're asking for 2.1," and the other one's like, "We're asking for 1.9." Okay, you see where the middle ground is. I mean, so you can tell it's strictly a political ploy to say, "Well, he's not saying yes, and they're not saying yes." So
yeah,
again, it's not like it's the whole thing of we have to fight for to retain power, and again, the only ones that really suffer from anything like that is us, the citizens.
yeah,
We're the ones that take it in the short. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people somewhere that are actually hurting who could say, you know what, this would help my business, or this would help me personally get where I need to go. I mean, it's not like unemployment rates had dropped to record lows. We're still showing very high unemployment rates. I mean, it's still crazy to look at that we. And again, that's just where it goes back into the whole vicious cycle again, right?
Well, you got millionaires arguing about pennies in their world that is life changing to 20-30% of the country.
yeah,
And so to sit here and even fathom that they are remotely connected to what the real issues are, is, in my mind, is they just have no clue. To argue over $1 million, was it $1 billion one way or the other, when we're already in a deficit and it's not going to change anytime soon. Let's just make things happen and get people the stimulus they need to survive in this country, so that they don't lose their home, so our homeless population doesn't go up. You know,
I don't know. That's where I think that's where, like Russ was saying. I mean, to really look at it and say, hey, let's come together as a country. I mean, this is a sad part about it is it takes something like this, or it takes tragedy, right? It takes it takes a really big something happening that causes death and destruction for us to unite as people and as a country, right? So, I mean, the last time I can remember anything um, this close to saying that people are people are together was like 9/11 was the last time I saw anything where people kind of just said, we have to stick together, we have to be a country, we have to. And again, it was because of a tragedy. It wasn't something like, hey,
yeah,
let's work together. Let's. I mean, even now there's strife in our own country having to deal with like racism, right? I mean, it's crazy to think about. But like Jake, I mean, I was listening to Russ's show this morning with Jake, and Jake really made a really good point. He said, in these large groups like this, when people talk about it, they always have something to say. But it's usually when these smaller groups and people talk and come together, they're like, oh yeah, let's work it out. Let's let's get working on a solution or whatever it is, right? So there's
yeah. Instead of fighting about the problems, let's work to fight for the solution.
right. So it's like you get in these smaller groups, and nobody's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm vehemently against this. No, we can't do this. This is insane. We shouldn't focus on making society better, or this way of trying to make society better is nuts. You guys are crazy." I've never been in a discussion group where that was their main point. We're like, "Oh yeah, this is not working for us." So it's, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel that we we all want the same thing. I just think we go about different ways of trying to work to get it whenever we really being real with each other, right? When we're not, and like Adam says, we're not millionaires fighting over political power, because again, I think that brings a whole other level of strife into these type of conversations. And I don't know.
It's interesting because, like, I look at leadership models in business, right? And leadership models, clearly dictate however leadership acts is how the rest of the company acts, right? And so through political season here, right, we've seen a slew of political commercials. Have you guys seen any political commercial that really was addressing issues and not focused on slandering the other candidate?
No, that's the challenge is that it goes back to pillaging a store for a peaceful demonstration. It's like it's an oxymoron. It's like I don't see anything peaceful about that. And it's like
it's exactly it, right? In order for us as a country to come together, our leadership needs to come together, which means instead of spending time, effort, energy, and stupid amounts of money to just slander each other, we should be talking about how we can really solve issues. And that's really what it comes down to. If leadership came together in this country, I would fathom a guess that over time, it's always going to take time, but over time, our country would also start to come back together as well.
Yeah. I mean, together, Biden and Trump spent nearly $200 million on Facebook alone.
Imagine if we would pump that into the education system.
Yeah.
Imagine with $200 million.
How many teachers' paychecks could take place over that? Right?
I think you could probably give a good majority of teachers a 5 to 6% raise this year with that money.
And
think of compound that, Adam, by all of the politicians that are running.
I know.
Now.
I know. It's a sickening amount of money, and
it's an obnoxious amount of money. It's just.
And again, right, like you're saying, right, and this is par for the course for what happens every 4 years. I mean, gosh, and you think about it. Even after these elections are won, a lot of the money is still left in a lot of these coffers. You know that, right? I mean, it's like, hey, we're so Brian Shulman. So what did I walk into? Well, I don't know, Brian. Why don't you hop in? There's a link somewhere in this.
I'm gonna hop out, Gabriel. I gotta take care of some stuff, and I got another call tonight. So
all right, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us for the time.
Yeah, thank you. Man. I'll wake up tomorrow and
we'll find out.
I don't know what will be different. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's like I used to live in Portland, and the one thing that come to mind when I was watching all of the disaster back there, and it's like places I used to hang out and down at the waterfront and downtown. It's like such a beautiful city, and I'm just thinking to myself, wow, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Please, someone help me understand. I didn't get a call. Nobody called me. Nobody explained it to me. Explain it to me, Lucy. I don't know. All right, Gabriel. Love you, man.
All right, brother.
Adam, great to hang out. Brian.
Yeah, show me.
Walk into it. Walk into it slowly, my friend.
That's right. So, Mr. Shulman, there's the comment. I just dropped it down in the StreamYard link on LinkedIn. So if you want to hop on, there it is, guys. Thank you, Russ, so much.
All right. Catch you guys later.
Who's the guest for tomorrow, as a matter of fact? Let me go ahead before you get out of here. Do you?
Who's the guest for tomorrow?
Yeah, 8
I'm
o'clock.
not sure.
You're like me sometimes. I gotta look at my calendar. Gosh, I know.
Yeah.
So, all right, but anyway, we'll just catch you tomorrow.
I have a guest tomorrow.
He
I
has a
promise.
guest tomorrow. So, depending on where you're at in Arizona time, it is 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. He streams live. Everywhere else, find your time zone. Connect with him on LinkedIn. Follow the Facebook group. You know the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
Check him
do
out.
all the social things
Yes, all the
that
social
make me
things.
smile.
Yes,
Baby kittens will be proud of you.
yes, they will. So, there
Angels
you,
will fly.
there you go. So, all right,
All right,
Russ.
brother.
Thank you, bud.
Take
Have a
care. Have a
good
good
one.
evening.
You too.
Bye.
So, wow. So, Adam, kind of to what we've been talking about for this evening is the fact that even now, while we're sitting here watching I changed the coverage on purpose because on one channel they'll have different electoral numbers. I mean, Fox was showing different numbers altogether. I think they had it slide differently, so I guess they made different projections as opposed to like on the CNN map. It's lower numbers, different projections. So here we are. We're getting another projection here. I don't know for who, but it is being a projection for somebody. Somebody's winning this state. I just don't know who. So, well, I didn't see. Oh, projection, but then I guess they're not projecting a winner.
Oh,
They're just-
Trump. Looks like Virginia Trump is.
is his. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. So I guess that's how they're doing it. So, because again, I think it was one of those things that they've learned from the 2000 election again to call some of these races too early, right? So based off of quote unquote our projections, we're gonna project this as the winner. So, guys, it's gonna be a long night.
Here's the kicker in all of this, right? Is most of us are going to wake up tomorrow, in a week from now, in a month from now, in 6 months from now, and what we do day to day is not going to inherently change at all.
Yeah, true.
Right? And that's not to poo-poo the fact that our president and what happens in these elections doesn't weigh in on what happens overall in our country. But the reality is we put so much stress on ourselves throughout these election times, but the day-to-day for most of us isn't really going to change. And if it does, we're talking at least a year or two down the road before any of those big impacts will start to occur and take place for the most part.
Exactly. So again, here we are. I mean, this was something that was hard to think about 2 years ago, that we would be in this position of having to deal again with another election that is going to be nutso to figure out, dealing with a pandemic that's going to be hard to figure out, and then even going into 2021, I think people are going to be more, I don't know, I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious going into 2021 and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do for my goals this year. I mean, yeah, in years past, it was like, hey, I can put my goals out there, build my vision board, go out there.
I can go out and lose 10 pounds and join the gym.
Yeah, exactly, right? Where now it's like, wait a minute, a lot of those things are still off the board. I mean, so it's going to be different when people say, I'm going to sit down this year and do my New Year's resolutions of how I'm going to change everything. I'm going to change my life. And it's, again, this is what we're going forward for the next, I don't know, 6 months maybe. I got no clue. I mean, like Russ was saying, this could be another 5-year thing. I mean, I've heard it. I was watching a guy and he said the fastest that they've ever done any kind of vaccine from from creation to test to actual production was 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Right? 4.5 years.
Well, you got to remember though that part of that is the FDA regulations with the amount of testing and stuff that is typical for a drug to be put to market, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like 2 to 2.5 years of like really solid like testing and data gathering before they put this stuff out. So that plays into that timeline, and basically they've kind of pulled back the veil and said, well, we just can't afford that type of a testing timeline for this. So
Wow.
I don't think we're close, but I don't think we're 4.5 years. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and again, but here's the thing. I don't know if this is true. Again, it's where you get your information, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard people say that there's a different strand mutations that are starting to formulate. I mean,
Who knows? I mean, this it goes back to Darwinism, survival of the fittest. You know, every organism, you know, is going to morph and change to survive whatever conditions it's put in. So, you know, hence where we're sitting right now, because COVID strains are nothing new.
no.
You know, as a whole, it's just COVID-19 is new, and we can't figure out how to kill it.
Exactly. So we're still sitting in trying to figure that this is something that if we even come up with a suitable vaccination, it's still not 100% foolproof that this is the answer, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be the way for us to get past this whole pandemic thing, because again we're putting a lot of our eggs in a single basket, hoping on one of these vaccines to get done, and of course get, you know, at that point get out to market. I mean, how fast can they? That's another thing I'm wondering, is how fast can they produce? I mean, because it's not just going to be here in the United States that we're going to want to buy this vaccine. It's going to be worldwide. I mean, line forms to the left. Where can we go, and how can we get our hands on it at that point? So I don't know. It's going to be. It's still something that I worry a lot about, because I want. I do want to. I do want to go back to a life like kind of pre-COVID. You know.
Yeah. I don't think we're ever going to go back to pre-COVID, right? But the reality says this, in my opinion, from the business world, it says that we were going down this path already, and in the next 5 years, we were pretty much going to be where we're at with remote work right now. So that was happening inevitably, whether we wanted it to happen the way it did or not. So I think people just were forced to push to a new norm in the workplace sooner than they wanted to. Doesn't mean necessarily it's a bad thing. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. From the rest of life piece of this, that's where the impacts come in. But I think, you know, you look at companies like Shipt and Instacart, who kind of paved the way for grocery delivery. DoorDash for restaurant delivery, Grubhub, you know, all those. I think as a society, we're equipped to shift and adjust for what new normal looks like. However, I think where people are going to struggle, where I think the issues are going to arise, is over the next couple of years. I think you're going to start to see a very sharp spike in mental health issues from isolation.
Yeah, that's a big thing as well. And another thing I was thinking about too as well is in the, it's like as far as in the manufacturing process, will a lot of companies look at doing automation? I mean,
Yeah, probably. But at the end of the day, that automation still does take people to run. And the reality, I have long said this about automation and artificial intelligence, and what people need to realize about that is that AI and automation is not about replacing jobs.
yeah,
It's about moving jobs into things that are more effective for people to do, right? I use an automotive line as a great example of this, right?
yes,
So an automotive line, one station might be putting both the driver's side front and rear tire on. Well, on an average car, that's 10 bolts, 12 bolts maybe, right?
hmm
In a screw gun. Well, every day that's somebody standing there going zoop, 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 100 times over and over and over again. Right. The reality says that I can put a machine that can do that. So now this person isn't doing this repetitive motion, which is terrible for them, in a position that's, that's not well suited for them. And I can move them into a position such as customer service, such as programming the machines. There's so many different places that people need to be involved in the process,
yeah,
but they don't need to be sitting there screwing bolts on, right? Farmers using automation in their fields to measure soil level, soil composition, things like that. It's not about firing field workers. It's about how can I move people to the fields that need the attention to do the work that needs to be done there, instead of sending half my crew to walk around all 8 fields that I might have in my farm to check all of that stuff manually. Right. So it's all about perspective. And I think people get the wrong idea with that automation stuff and AI. And it's not about replacing people. It's about moving people into positions that I think make them more effective.
yeah, that's, but I think that, just again, going from looking at the perspective of for a lot of companies that had to essentially, who weren't at that point to even look at wanting to talk about any kind of automation, or I think it might help change their perspective on it, at least saying, you know what, maybe it's something we consider now. Maybe it's something here in the next year or 2 years that we can actually look at and go, let's at least take this into consideration how we should operate, because COVID is COVID, but it's always something, right? It's always if it's not COVID, it's going to be something, and it's going to be, I don't know, the earthquake that they've always talked about happening. I don't know. Just
There's always something going on. Heck, let's talk about hurricane season. We have surpassed every hurricane season with named storms ever at this point.
wow, I did
Right.
not know that.
So we've gone through all of the names. We've also gone through the Greek alphabet thing that they do after they run out of names. And now we're on to, I forget what the third iteration is, but now we're on to that third set of.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, there's always going to be something. It's a fantastic point. If we stop and pause and go, this is that something that's happening right now, and just be appreciative that people care enough about it to do something about it. The outlook is there that says that, what the heck? If it isn't this, it's going to be something else, and we're going to have to step up and face that.
Yeah. Everything, and that's why I said, hopefully, the one thing that we all take out of this, however we move forward, is the fact that, everything should be looked at, everything should be evaluated, and again, hopefully we don't go back to that kind of closed mindset of, hey, this is how it's always been done. This is how we're going to continue to do it. Whereas now it's like we're forced to being into it, and let's keep let's keep our options open on how we can approach our business strategy or how we're developing our tailoring education. Like you said, we the homeschooling has been doing this again like for years. I mean, literally, they've been doing it for years ahead of where they are now. So it's kind of like the people like Russ and them who've been home, been working from home for the last 10 years. So this is not too much of an adjustment for them, right? It's not like, oh, I was already set. I had cameras. I already know how to do this. I've already dealt with Zoom. So, I mean, because there's things that have been coming out of these, this whole thing, like words like Zoom fatigue. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
You know, that's,
I have mixed feelings about that, and it comes from I have much more fatigue from sitting in conference rooms for pointless calls where I can't multitask than I do sitting on a Zoom call where I can at least multitask if it doesn't even pertain to me, which happens more, I think, in corporate America than we lead on to believe. So, you know, it goes back to the age old. You know, it's just a meeting that about a meeting that shouldn't have even been a meeting, but probably could have been all dealt with in an email.
yeah, I gotcha. That's crazy. I mean, it's,
You know,
it's nuts. It's nuts to think about.
Zoom fatigue. It's interesting. I think it's real for kids. I think it's less real for adults. I think you get tired staring at a computer all day, but I mean, let's be real. We were staring at a computer sitting in an office as well all day too. Where kids sitting in a classroom versus staring at a computer all day is a way different stimulation for them. And so I think it's real for kids, but I think people use it as an excuse in the business world a little bit. You know, not to say that there isn't some reality to the isolation that Zoom makes us all feel from the intentionality of communication, right? The fact that every time we communicate with somebody now on video, or audio, it tends to be relatively scheduled instead of that water cooler chat that we're used to at a physical location. And so, you know, that's where I think the fatigue comes in. It's not so much Zoom fatigue, it's isolationism because our communication isn't just happening in a natural sense anymore.
Yeah, and and you know, I've been excuse me, whoa, trying to get something out of my throat. Yikes! I think I might have swallowed a bug. Wow.
Protein.
Live on TV, guys. You guys got to see that. That went into my mouth too. Ugh. So, but you know, going back to like what we're talking about here, kids, I think, like you said, they need more stimulation, right? They need that. Well, at least I know from my kid, I got 4 of them that we're homeschooling. I mean, we're doing online learning with, so it's tough sometimes because again, it's not only are you having to try to make sure that they're paying attention to what they're doing, but then course schedules for 4 different kids going from one classroom to the next, to the next, to the next. It does not all merge together time-wise. I mean, so they could actually still be in a Zoom session in one classroom, and then my other kid has to hop in there and needs help trying to whatever. So my wife's at home trying to figure out how to go, you know what, let me jump over here, help him real quick, and then go back over here, help her over here, and then get her back in here, and then trying to stay on top of all of it. It's maddening to think about, and Um, but again, it's not safe enough where we can just send our kids back to school either. Um, right now it's just adults at our school here locally where I'm at, and they've already had teachers who've contracted the virus.
Yeah, we're doing in our school district. We're doing. Some kids are learning at home. Some kids are at school. You had a choice as a parent. We had a choice to send our child to school or keep them home. We chose. Well, my son's in college now, so he got to choose whether he wanted to go to campus or not. But my daughter, we chose to keep her home, and so But it's interesting because some of our teachers, they are literally teaching an in-person class and have a camera on them to teach the Zoom lessons as well.
That's got to be tough, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you're literally having two different types of audiences paying attention to you. So you have in class learning, and then you have again kids that are on. Calm down, buddy. He's my time. If you guys, you're getting restless. Okay, calm down. Yes, nobody's won the election yet. Stop. This is the bad part about having. This is happened to me with Brian, where he goes nuts, and I have all my equipment tied into just a few power strips, and if he comes over here and he gets excited and whatever, literally he's done it where he takes the whole power strip and just kills the power to everything. So I don't know. Maybe it's a sign to probably get out of here, folks. I guess. Adam, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know it's probably going to be a long night. Plus
I pushed off work to come hang out, so.
Yeah, exactly, and it's cool. But to have the opportunity to do this is why I do love the whole live streaming thing. Is just to have these sort of impromptu conversations, and again, share a lot of with the community and everybody around there. So thank you, everybody who's been a part of this one. Adam, we need to hook up again. I need to have you on just where we're not talking about microphones or elections, where we just have a talk about Adam. So
Cool, man. Let me know.
Man.
Let's get it worked out. Likewise, I got to have you on the Winning Tactics as well.
Yes.
So
there we go. That's right. We got to get on the Winning Tactics podcast, guys. Adam, he live streams as well. So have you got that back in order yet? Now that you got your.
So I'm live streaming either Tuesday or Wednesday nights now, somewhere around like 5:30, 6 o'clock, which I know is not the ideal time because people are getting ready for dinner, but you can catch the replay. Replay comes out every Thursday on all the major podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. So
there you go, man. And just a quick shout out to the guys in the Infinity Streamers group as well. They are we're working on something there as well that I know that hopefully they're excited to announce here pretty soon. It's been a while, but again, it's the whole thing about being in these communities and getting to know each other, and that's been a cool part of kind of cross-contaminating with everybody in there. You so-and-so jumps on this show, everybody jumps on that show, so everybody knows everybody, so it's cool, and I really like those communities because it just it helps spread connection and engagement with folks. So Adam, thank you so much, friend. Again, guys, thank you everybody who's been a part of this one. It's going to be a long night, it looks like, and everything's looking, oh my God, I don't want to look at that, 267 and 261.
They're playing with the numbers now. He's tapping on things.
And of course, he's just going off of 2016 results as far as how they turned it. Oh my God, I don't want to think about this because, again, I was hoping for a landslide, so at least we could say, you know what, we're going in this direction tomorrow. Fuck it, this is what we got to do. So it's either 4 more years of the same, and we know it, and we can go to bed and say, all right, tomorrow back to business as usual, and here we go again. And or it's, hey, we got change, and I don't know. Some people are just going to have optimism. Other people are just going to have their heads down. I don't know, but it's going to be a long night. So, Adam, thank you again so much, guys. Of course, I will be back here tomorrow evening, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Tomorrow evening's guest will be the wonderful and talented Kenyatta Turner. She'll be on tomorrow evening. So you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and, you know, what else can I say? Just try to get a good night's sleep, because if you're going to stay up watching this one, you're going to be up for a very long time. So I don't want to deal with that. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So, all right, everybody. We'll be back again tomorrow evening. Check out again Adam Sinkus. Connect with him on LinkedIn if you're not connected already. And goodbye, everybody.